All right, hi, and welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran. We're back. We're talking about Instagram and how to avoid copyright problems on Instagram. So, I've pulled up a page here that I think will be helpful. This is general legal information only and not legal advice. But I wanted just to point this out because I see people posting things on Instagram, and I know it's going to cause them some headaches. And at some point, you may face a copyright infringement lawsuit. So I just want to give you some general tips here. And this is from the Instagram page. So this says copyright and posting content on Instagram. I'm just going to read you the first three here, okay? How can I make sure the content I post to Instagram doesn't violate copyright law? Let's take a look. Under Instagram's terms of use and community guidelines, you can only post content to Instagram if it doesn't violate the intellectual property rights of another party. The best way to help make sure the content you post to Instagram doesn't violate copyright law is to only post content you've created yourself. Okay, so I say this up and down, left and right. People, the best way to avoid any copyright problem is learn to become a creator yourself. Create your own stuff. That's obviously the biggest tip I can give you is learn to become a creator instead of posting everybody else's stuff. But sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you don't have the time of the day. Sometimes you're not creative, or sometimes you just want to share things that are already out there. But you have to be careful about that. It says you might also be able to use someone else's content on Instagram if you've gotten permission, for example, a license, or if your use is covered by a fair use. We'll talk about that in a second. Or there's some other exception to copyright. It's generally a good idea to get permission before, let me highlight that, before posting content, and to get that permission in writing. So what they're saying here is if you see a Michael Jackson song and you want to put it in your video because it's the greatest song in the world, for me that song is Thriller. But if you want to get that, you need to call up the publisher, whoever owns the rights to the Michael Jackson song. You got to get those rights in writing. Well, everybody knows that's going to be pretty difficult. So, you don't necessarily want to go and post, the Beatles online, Paul McCartney, things like that. Somebody's probably going to give you some problem. A lot of these websites like Facebook, they have content ID filters, which are going to filter for particular songs that are in their database. And if they catch your song, you're going to be facing some kind of action, and you could eventually lose your account. So you don't want to do that. So getting permission is another way, but it's not an easy thing to do, I can tell you. Please note that Instagram cannot help you obtain permission to use copyrighted content. Well, Vondran Legal can if you want to go that route, but it can be expensive because you have to reach out, find out who owns the rights, get it in writing. And before you post content on Instagram, you may want to ask a couple questions. And I think these are great questions. Did I create all of the content myself? If you did, yes, you're good. Don't worry about it. Post it, have fun, brag about it. Ask people to like and share and do all that. 2, do I have permission to use all of the content included in my post? That's getting written permission. Do you have an email, somebody saying, go ahead, you're free to use that? 3, does my content fall within an exception to copyright infringement? And I'm going to talk about fair use being the big one in a second. Is the content protected by copyright? For example, is it a short phrase, idea, or public domain work? These things are not protected. So if somebody has, I have an idea for a show, and you took their idea and you posted it online. Here's a great idea for a show. That's not copyright infringement because it's just an idea. Short phrases like blog titles, as of now, are still not copyrightable. Things in the public domain, this is where people have either dedicated their works to the public domain or it's expired. The copyrights have expired and they are in the public domain. That's usually things from back in the 1900s. So if it's any of those, they're not copyrightable. Facts are not copyrightable. So any of those things you can feel free to use, okay? Let's go back here. Let's go back here. I thought I was trying to go back here. So let's go back this way. All right. So that was number 1. How can I make sure content I post doesn't violate copyright laws? Okay, why are you doing this to me? Let me do this. What is fair use? This is a big one. So if something is a fair use, it is not a copyright infringement. Realize that fair use is a statutory right. It's built right into the copyright laws, and some people will say it's a defense. Yeah, it's a defense that you have to raise if somebody's suing you and violating your fair use rights. You have to raise and assert and prove the defense. Okay, so the fair use doctrine recognizes the rigid application of copyright laws in certain cases would be unfair or may inappropriately stifle creativity. We don't want to do that. Or stop people from creating original works, which would harm the public. So the doctrine allows people to use someone else's work without permission in certain circumstances. Now, this is really important. So this is what's built right into the statute. Common examples include criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research. Okay, if you're using somebody's photo or video or written text that's copyrighted in your videos or on your Instagram channel, for these purposes, you may have a fair use. But bear in mind, I'll let you come back and read this, but fair use depends on 4 factors. I'm not going to go into it on this video. You can stop and read them if you want. I'm going to go through these really quick in case you want to stop. The purpose and character of the use is one thing. Is it commercial or nonprofit? Those kinds of questions. Number 2, the nature of the copyrighted work. 3, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. 4, the effect of the use upon the potential market for the copyrighted work. This is probably one of the bigger factors right here. And just realize that the courts, if it went to court, they would look at all 4 factors, put a little weight to each one, and decide if it's a fair use or not, okay? So, for example, if you took that Michael Jackson clip and you were using Thriller, but you were only using 3 seconds of it, you know, something like that. And there's no hard and fast rule on the time, whether it's 1 second, 30 seconds, a minute. So some people try to say, oh, there's the 3-second rule. That's not a rule. But the shorter, the better, taking only what you need. And that's what this number 3 goes to, taking only what you need. But if you're creating something that's not going to have an effect on the original Thriller album, let's say, and you're doing something about, you're doing a video about funny, scary videos, that's not going to rob from the Michael Jackson. And so it could be considered a fair use. And so these are the things you want to be concerned with. And to learn more about fair use, there's a Copyright Office Fair Use Index. You can click that and you can go through lots of different fair use opinions from different jurisdictions. Your better bet is just to bookmark my channel, because I give you some of the fair use decisions that are coming out, so you don't have to run around and do that. So make sure you're subscribing to my channel, okay? So that's fair use. And then the last one I'm going to do, can I still violate another person's copyright if I didn't intend to infringe? This is another popular question. I didn't intend to infringe anything. I didn't know. I didn't intend. Well, that's probably not going to work. It says here, in most cases, you shouldn't use someone else's copyrighted work if you don't have permission, or it's a fair use, or the other things we talked about, public domain, ideas, facts, okay? It is possible to infringe without intending to do so. Remember, your use of someone else's content may still be infringing their copyright, even if you do these things, and this is why I thought was important, you could still be infringing. So this is really important for you to know. Even if you give credit to the copyright owner and you're giving attribution, that doesn't save you from a copyright infringement. Even if you include a disclaimer, I don't intend to infringe. Even if you say, I consider this to be a fair use, and put a fair use disclaimer on there. By the way, I have a really nice sample fair use disclaimer on YouTube if you want to check that out. Attorney Steve, fair use disclaimer. That'll pull that up. It's a real nice discussion on that. I didn't intend to profit from it. That's kind of the, it's non-commercial. And even though it's non-commercial, it can still be infringing. I bought or downloaded the content. For example, a DVD or song from the internet, and I'm just, using it online. There may be restrictions on the content. I modified the work before and added my original content to it. Now, this could help you with a fair use in arguing what we call transformative use, where you say, I am transforming the original content into something totally new. So that may help you. That may help you, but may not save you ultimately. So that's, again, these are close questions of law and fact. And this is a famous one. I found it on the internet, on Google Images, Google Videos. It's like, just because you find it on the internet does not mean that you get to use it in your videos or your Instagram posts. So that's not going to work. Recorded the content on your own recording device. So you go to a concert and you record Van Halen or whoever Taylor Swift, whoever your flavor of the day is, and you think, well, I own it because I was there, I paid the ticket, and I recorded it. Not necessarily true. So that could be another potential problem. And you saw that others have posted the same content as well. They're posting it too. We get that a lot, and we say, well, just because they haven't got to everybody, they're getting to you now. So these are some things. I hope that's just really a quick crash course in copyright. But I mean, those are some really, to me, 3 of the key points that I found on the Instagram help page here, and I found it to be very helpful. So happy Instagramming. Make sure you're following the community guidelines. And I saw something with Elizabeth Warren was recently, somebody posted her Texas bar card that had her listing herself as an American Indian, and that violated the community guidelines. So you got to be careful what you're posting up there, the community guidelines, things that are designed to hurt, intimidate, harass people. And you need to make sure on the other side of the fence, these copyright laws and trademarks are another issue, saved for another day. But these are 3 helpful things to know about copyright. You probably know more than the average bear knows. So happy Instagramming. Have fun. Make sure to like my Instagram channel. You can find me at Attorney Steve. And we try to put some funny memes up there and things like that. So have a great day. Got to run. Got a lot of work to do. But hope if you like this, give me a like button. Hit the like button. It's not going to kill you. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. Have a great day. We'll talk again. Attorney Steve out. Find me on the web at attorneysteve.com.